Welcome to We Learn, Virtual Learning Network. This is session number 30th of the subject The Study of Society, and the chapter is Social Control. The topics to be covered are meaning and nature, goals of social control, methods of social control, mechanisms, means and consequences of social control, limits on social control. Meaning and nature of social control. The term social control is broadly concerned with the maintenance of order and stability in society. It may be used in the limited sense of denoting the various specialized means employed to maintain order, such as codes, courts, and constables. It is also used to categorize social institutions and their interrelations insofar as they contribute specifically to social stability. Some definitions focus on the order aspect of social control. Some look at social control as the means by which society establishes and maintains order. The emphasis is on all those means and processes whereby a group or a society secures conformity of its member to its expectations. Social control refers to those ways used by a society to bring its wayward members back into line. So basically, social control refers to those ways and methods which a society uses to bring its members who are not online or who are creating social disharmony, to bring its wayward members back into line. The main points that emerge from all these definitions about the meaning of social controls are: the term refers essentially to means and processes whereby certain goals are to be achieved. The two most important goals sought to be achieved by social control are conformity to norms and expectations of the group, maintenance of order in society. The concept of social control and the concept of self-control. Self-control implies that imposition of external control is not required to compel the individual to do the right thing in a given situation. Self-control supplements the mechanisms of social control in producing conformity. The relation between self-control and social control can be understood in the following manner. The group applies some sanctions on an individual for indulging in deviant behavior, and in self-control, the person himself or herself applies rules and norms which are relevant and which need not, and the things which need not to be done in a particular situation, and which makes the individual do the right thing himself or herself. So self-control is basically intrinsic and social control is extrinsic, where the group applies some sanctions, rules for an individual for indulging in deviant behavior. Socialization. It is a process by which an individual from childhood learns and acquires the cultural characteristics of one's group. In childhood, one's parents, for instance, enforce their expectations on the child by a system of reward, punishment, and discipline. One also acquires many traits by observing the behavior of others and by anticipating the consequences of an reaction to one's own conduct in different situations. So basically, socialization is a process by which people learn, an individual learns from childhood and acquires different cultural characteristics and also the societal characteristics and the expectations which are also sought by people from him or her. In childhood, parents enforce their expectations with the help of reward, with the help of giving reward, punishment, or imposing discipline on children. And in this way, children can also learn by anticipating the consequences and behavior of others and also one's own conduct in different situations. Socialization contributes significantly to bringing about effective social control in society. It is only when the process of socialization fails that the individual may begin to act against the expectations of the group. Social control also helps in the process of socialization. Insofar as socialization involves learning process, a system of reward and punishment is required in accomplishing it. So basically, social control helps in the process of socialization. It rewards socialization. Insofar as socialization is involved, the learning process, the system of reward and punishment is also required in accomplishing social control and also making socialization happen to maintain socialization and to maintain social control. Goals of social control are conformity, uniformity, solidarity, continuity, and social change. Conformity, to conform to the demands and expectations of a group. Uniformity, the rules and regulations are the same for everyone. Solidarity, there should be unity. Continuity, there should be a continuous process. Social change, to bring about positive social change. Methods of social control are, they can be broken into two types, informal and formal. The informal type of control is casual or unwritten. So, the control which is informal, that is casual, that is informal, and that is not written anywhere, that is oral, verbal, or unwritten. It lacks regulation, scheduling, and organization. So, it lacks a proper timetable, it lacks regulation or any kind of scheduling or coordination. The informal types consist of casual praise, ridicule, gossip, and ostracism. So all these are the informal types of social methods of social control, and the formal type is codified, scheduled, organized, or regulated in some way, as in promotion, demotion, satire, monetary payment, mass media, etc. So basically the formal type is written, that is formal, that is codified, that is also organized or regulated in some way, and that is also written in terms of promotion, demotion, or any other monetary payment, etc. And it has regulation, it has proper scheduling and organization. The informal types are basically casual praise given, or ridicule remark, or gossip, or ostracism, or which is basically not meant for a particular person, but it is passed. Informal social control. This is also known as primary social control, as it is more effective in what sociologists call primary groups. The primary groups are relatively more homogeneous, small, compact, and intimate groups. So the primary groups are small, compact, homogeneous groups, and they are known as primary social control. Members are tied to each other and to the group by feelings of personal loyalty. A family, playgroups, neighborhood, and rural community, and a simple primitive society are some examples of such compact social groupings. So, such compact and small social groupings, they are characterized by feelings of personal loyalty to the group. So, family, playgroups, neighborhood are some examples. Formal social control. Modern complex societies such as ours, are good examples of such social groupings. It is a well-known fact in sociology that informal groups do develop within such formal organizations. In a university or a college, certain cliques, informal controls are more effective. Generally speaking, in secondary groupings, informal controls take their place. So, in a formal organization, informal groupings or informal controls do take place. In a university or a college, some informal controls are effective as well, because that helps in maintaining the proper way, and also making people to lend whatever they want to say. And in also society like ours, that is a good example of social groupings, modern social groupings. In large secondary groupings, informal controls are weakened due to growing anonymity, mobility, and conflicting norms and values. Intimacy declines, and members do not have personal or emotional feelings towards each other. They frequently move from one place to another, or from one group to another. So in large secondary groupings, what happens is informal controls are not that much strong. They are weakened due to growing mobility, people walking, moving from one place to another, and also the norms and values are not compatible with them. They are conflicting, and also there is anonymity when the work is done, but people don't come to know that the work is done by whom, and intimacy is declined, and members do not have emotional feelings to one another. Mechanisms, means, and consequences of social control. Every society has devised various mechanisms to exercise control. Social control mechanisms are viewed by sociologists as all those social arrangements that prevent such strains as may develop from the individual's place in the social structure, and prevent the strains from leading to deviance. So this is what the sociologists say, that social control mechanisms are required to prevent tension, to prevent strain from developing individuals' place in the social structure, and also it should not lead to violence or deviance or deviance from rules and regulations. Types of mechanisms are preventive mechanisms, mechanisms to manage tensions, mechanisms to check or change deviant behavior, psychological sanctions, physical sanctions, economic sanctions, and propaganda mechanisms. So, preventive mechanisms are there to help prevent any socially deviant behavior and also to manage tensions. There are various kinds of sanctions which are taken place. There is psychological sanction, there is physical sanction or economic sanction which is taken place from people concerned. Propaganda mechanisms is where a proper agenda propaganda is publicized. Means of social control is a custom. Social codes found in every society provide standardized ways of doing things. The severity would depend on the importance attached to the particular customary regulation. Custom is sustained by common acceptance. Informal social pressures are brought to bear in the case of violation of customs. So basically, custom is a code which is found in every society and is a standardized way of doing thing, and also the severity, the how much people want to do, that is also its importance is also attached to the particular customary regulation, that how much is the acceptance by the people, how much are the people willing to accept in a sustained or in a continuous period of time. And informal social pressures and tensions are also bore by the person who violates the norms and the customs. Laws are formal standardized expressions of norms enacted by legislative bodies to regulate certain types of behavior. Laws are not merely state what behaviors are permitted and not permitted, but they also state the punishment for violating the law. In modern complex societies, the more informal types of social control are weakened. So the most informal types of social control are weakened and are not strong, and law is also one of the means of social control which helps in the expression or the expression by the legislative bodies to regulate certain types of behavior. Law has three distinct characteristics which separate it from custom. It has politicality, it has uniformity, and it has penal sanction. It is political in nature. It has uniformity, rules and regulations are same for everyone. It has penal sanction. If you do not obey to the rules and regulations, that a penal action could be taken against you. Religion. Sociologists are interested in studying how religion is organized and what impact it has on the members of a society in terms of controlling their behavior. They are also interested in the kinds of belief system developed by people in different situations and circumstances, and how religious beliefs change over time as external situations and circumstances change. So religion, basically sociologists are interested in studying the impact the religion has on the members of society in controlling their behavior, and they're also interested in knowing different situations and circumstances of religious beliefs that can be changed. So they are also interested in studying all these things about religion, how that controls the behavior of the people, and how in different situations and circumstances how beliefs change over a period of time. All religions are seen to have the following elements: things considered sacred, a set of believers, a set of rituals and ceremonies, a system of beliefs such as a creed, doctrine, or a holy book, a certain form of organization. So basically in religion the things are considered sacred, a set of believers are there, rituals and ceremonies take place, a system of books is also there, which is a creed, a doctrine or a holy book, and a certain form of organization or an institution is there. Religion contributes to stability and order in society in that it reinforces social norms, it reinforces social norms, social customs, and it also contributes to stability and order in society. The sacred books of most of religions include rules for ordering social relationships. The sacred books of religions include basically the rules, regulations for ordering and for maintaining social relationships with the people. It's especially explicit about matters pertaining to the family, marriage, divorce, and inheritance. Education. The institution of education helps to control human behavior through socialization of the young and adult members of society. So basically with this help of socialization of the young and adult members of the society, the institution of education helps to control human behavior. The different levels of formal education transmit the culture of society to individuals within the society. So basically, the different levels of formal education, they transmit the culture of society who are within them. And also it helps to control the human behavior through socialization and through making the people learn the art and the manners, whether young or adult. And also in discharging their socialization function, schools and colleges transmit many of the society's values. And in the socialization function only, the society's values are also transmitted and also reflected. Family. Family is not only an important agency of socialization but of social control as well. It's in the family that an individual normally has his most intimate and important social relation. An individual always seeks emotional support of his or her near and dear ones in the family in times of stress and tension. So basically, a family is the first important agency of socialization and also keeping the track of individuals' activities and making them learn good manners and good qualities. And also in the family, there are intimate relations between people, and individual seeks emotional support of his near and dear ones whenever there is a problem or whenever there is a stress or tension in their life. Leadership. It can play a very important role in social control. It develops out of the process of interaction itself. Leaders have guided the destinies of groups, communities, and nations. In this process, mass media can play a very important role. Mass media and leaders can also play a very important role in social control, in the interaction itself, and in also also in helping social control and guiding the destinies of groups and people. Mass media. In modern technological societies, the media of mass communication, such as newspapers, radio, and television, are a means of not only communication but also of social control. New values and lifestyles, fashions, wants, ideas, etc., are thrust upon the public with a view to redirect and control their behavior in a particular way. So, new values, new lifestyles, fashions, wants, needs, and desires, ideas are also thrust upon the public with a view to redirect them and also socially control their behavior. Force. In some types of societies, such as the totalitarian states and colonial regimes, physical force and violence are used as significant instruments of control. So, physical force and violence dominates the totalitarian or colonial regimes. Communal and caste violence are examples of how force is used by interested groups to control and coerce each other though it is not legally sanctioned. Though communal and caste violence, it is not legally sanctioned to overcome it, but the interested groups are ready to control and coerce each other though it is not a legally sanctioned thing. Consequences of social control can be exploitation of the individual, inhibiting reform and change, psychological pressures, social tensions. So, consequences of social control are basically when people are exploited, when they are being inhibited through reform and change, when there are pressures or when there are social tensions. Limits on social control. Effectiveness of social control is limited due to the following factors. Each group is organized around norms and values. The effectiveness of social control is also limited by the degree of consistency in the cultural directives. So, the effectiveness of social control is also limited. This effectiveness is also limited by the degree of consistency in the cultural directives. Social control implies huge economic cost to the society. Social control also means bearing huge economic cost, huge economic money to the society and for the society, and also maintaining social control becomes important when the individuals go haywire, and to maintain consistency in society and bringing and controlling the huge economic cost to the society. So, the effectiveness of social control is also limited by the degree of consistency. So, that was all about social control, social functions, and how socially regulated societies can be. These are some of the questions. What are the major elements of social control, and what are the 4 major mechanisms to check deviant behavior? So, that's all. Thank you. Happy learning. We learning.